All right, so we have seen that there is a small issue we need to fix, that our workflow right now is dumping multiple records in the database. So in order to make this clean, I'm going to delete all of these ones and be ready for the next step. Okay, that's ready. Now let's go to my caching here. I'm going to delete this link and keep the trigger on that side and this one on this side. What I would like to do is first check the database. So I can go and check the database by getting a row. And when I get a row, I want to get it from the emails database, and I want to add a condition based on the email ID. Where do I get my email ID from? From the Gmail trigger. I want to see if this email ID exists, or basically based on this email ID, pull that email for me. And then if I click test, it says no output data found. Why? Because I don't have that in the database. That's absolutely correct. But there is a default setting in n8n. When no output data is found, n8n stops executing the workflow when a node has no output data. You can turn that on and off from the settings tab. So I'm going to say, please always output data. If I click, now it says something and it has one item, and that something is no fields or items exist. That's all cool. There is an if condition in n8n, but this if condition will not work. Why? I'll show you why. Because there is no way for me to drag and drop this, you see? I can't trigger, I can't put a condition on that one item here. Even if I turn this into expression, and then I write this thing. Like, I want to pick the super base. It is basically returning an empty object. And if I pick this object and I say that it's empty, I want to check that particular case. If it's empty, there is no entry in the database, then I want to do the entry. But if I run it, you can see that it gives me the true path. I will just quickly show you. What I want to do is that if that is empty, then I want to do the database entry. And then in here, I just need to update the payload. That will be the entire payload of this one. The item coming from here. So basically this entire data. And obviously my apologies, that's the email. So I'm gonna get the, maybe we can just remove that and then drag and drop this one here. So that's the email ID, it generates it. And then for the entire email, I can go back here, give this one and this entire item, so basically the entire object. I want to test this to make sure that this particular workflow works. Refresh, this is all right. I'm going to delete this so that I can test that workflow that I have just created with if condition. So let's go back here, refresh, make sure everything is running. Okay, if I test this workflow, it's the first time it's running, it worked fine. It put this data in here because it didn't exist. But if I click it again, it runs it again. And if I come here, refresh the page, the data is duplicated. You can see that they both have the same ID. So for some reason, this if condition is not working. I'm saying is empty. It is empty object. We can see that the result is an empty object, but since it is nested and it is not that output that we see here, it is more than that. We'll see that in just a minute. So we're gonna leave this lecture as it is in here to make sure that we capture the problem statement. The problem statement is that the if condition in this particular workflow do not work. And since we're gonna try some vibe coding, in the third part of this lecture, we'll start the very early touches of vibe coding right now. So in the next lecture, we'll have a look at what we can do with custom coding and how we can solve this problem in n8n. And it should be a spark for you to be able to solve any sort of problems that you encounter when you're building with n8n. See you in the next video.